Welcome to the Lending Labyrinth. Your host, Richard Yepes, Mr. Next Mortgage. Join me as we navigate through the twists and turns of mortgage, the Lending Labyrinth, featuring expert interviews, industry trends, and real-life stories that shed all aspects of mortgage lending and real estate. Together, let's explore the world of lending and empower ourselves with the knowledge needed to make informed financial decisions. Hello, everyone.
That was really good intro phase.
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone, Lynn Yepes is in the house in studio, Next Mortgage Studios, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Jeff Riley, broker owner of NextHome Realty Center here in Cypress, Texas.
You're smiling.
Hello. All the way from Nashville.
All the way from Nashville. Visiting, and I think Jeff is the one who brought the cold weather with him because it's...
Well, yeah, I already replaced all my plants last year. I'm gonna do it again, so. Can
you get AstroTurf in Nashville knowing that you're going to get snow every year?
You know, they're not big Astro fans.
But I've actually been to Jeff's house in Nashville, and he has deer frolic just willy-nilly in the backyard.
If you've seen the Facebook pictures of like where it's at right now, but it is just a winter wonderland. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's kind of like the background that we chose for today's episode.
I don't know about the outdoor fire pit, although you do have that.
He does have an outdoor fire pit. Yeah.
Maybe get some couches out there.
Well, I think all the propane is frozen.
Oh, well then be careful.
No, that's not a good thing. Is your house a scenario where you have to get like oil? Like, is that what they do in the north?
So we have heating oil that's delivered about twice a year.
Oh, that's crazy.
So $1,200 a year for heating oil.
That's crazy.
So the alternative is, since you've been a Houstonian and now a Nashvilleian, what's better, the below freezing temps or the 110 heat during Texas summers?
You know, since I'm in the real estate industry, of course, my preference is to be in both locations.
Right,
so I like to be able to go back and forth, just in case anybody's looking for a second home mortgage.
So for those of you who don't know, Jeff was a resident of these parts here in Houston, and he actually moved up to Nashville to just spread his wings and get a little more land. You're sitting on about 5 acres right now, right?
Yeah, just shy of 6 acres.
Oh, nice.
With some pretty horses.
With one only. You only have one horse, right?
We have one, and our neighbor has one.
Okay.
So I con her.
So you have to schedule play dates and have them
Basically,
come over.
I have a neighbor who just overtook my barn.
Oh man! So you should, if they had like Uber for barns, there you go. You could start that up.
Yep.
So how has it been? Because I mean, you're the owner of NextHome Realty Center, both you and Curtis and Kristen. How has it been seeing two different markets? So you see the Houston market, and you see, I don't want to say just Nashville. I mean, you kind of see like all over Tennessee.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that Nashville and Houston, if you compare directly, actually experience a lot of the same market trends. I will say that in Nashville, we don't have the inventory like you have here in Houston. So we're still seeing some of those bidding wars and a lot of higher priced properties. Taking a little longer for the Nashville market to stabilize, but you know, it was already a growing market before this crazy market that we just had.
Exciting. That's what we're saying. Exciting.
Does a winter freeze like this hold up anything? Like do people? My whole experience, and I did a video about this the other day. If you're not looking, but now you are looking, a freeze like this will let you know if your house can withstand a freeze like this. And I would feel more confident buying a home now that I didn't own before, because when you do the inspections, you know that the pipes didn't bust, that, you know, it withstood the freeze, you're able to keep your electricity and things like that. Is that something that when you get 5 feet of snow, is that something to consider in Nashville?
You know, it is something to consider. Nashville homes are built a little differently, and most of us have basements. So
yes.
Everything's
I think that was one of the cool things about your houses.
The big difference, the biggest, I guess, difference of if you're in Nashville in that market where you do get snow, like we thought ahead and thought, well, with the snowstorm, we're going to go ahead and get some snow pictures in case we ever do market our property for sale. So when you capture, time of year that's something that's a quality of your location, go ahead and get those pictures and hold them in a
That's
folder.
so clever.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, because like the Houston market, I'm sorry, I love Houston. I fought like hell to get out of it, but then came right back to it. But think about it, the seasons in the Houston market really don't change the way the house looks or is presented. But
So when it floods like Harvey, take a picture of that.
You either have wet house or dry house.
And say, look, this is my house in Harvey. So feel free to come by it because it's going to do all right.
I mean, but that really is super clever. I mean, because think about it. You just took some amazing, gorgeous pictures of your house in Nashville, just covered with snow, looking like the Winter Wonderland. And then you see it like in the spring where it's just vibrant and leaves falling and
Yeah,
I think Curtis does a good job though, because you actually get seasons in Nashville. And I think when fall came along, he was posting all these autumn pictures of like these different color trees that we don't get down here because we have pine trees that are green or dead. So
Well, and I think when you're in the second home market, those are important things to capture because that's why somebody's buying in a secondary market. If you're on Lake Travis, take pictures while the water's high or while there's an event going on, or try to capture those moments.
And you see, that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he is who he is. He sees all of those kind of things.
and if you're not working with an agent that thinks about those things, I mean, those are kind of, big points. How are you going to sell my property, especially if you have to move, especially if you have to relocate. How are you going to sell this property that I have? What are the different things, especially for out of towners and things like that? What are those things that are going to set me apart, my listing apart, and thinking outside the box?
Can you say that word one more time?
Out of towners?
Okay.
No, what was the word I was singing last time? Volatility was.
Volatility.
I kept on saying volatility.
You should do your Robert De Niro.
Hopefully,
I
we're
can't.
seeing some of that volatility calm down a little bit.
So you being in Houston before you moved up to Nashville, I know that was a want. What was y'all's need list? Like when y'all were here in Houston, you're like, we got a great house because your house in Houston was beautiful.
It was awesome.
What was the need list that the house or just the new house in general? Because
Basically, 180-degree difference from the house that we were in.
which it certainly is.
We were going through some trying times at that time, and my mom had passed, and we wanted space. We wanted room for horses. Pretty much the needs on Curtis's side were very long, and my side basically said, just meet Curtis's needs.
Hey, that works in a lot of instances, believe it or not.
Yeah, we
How
wanted
a true marriage stays together.
Yeah, that's 2 locations.
No, so like and it really is 180 degrees, right? So you were in Town Lake before.
Right. $30,000 a year property taxes.
$30,000 a year property taxes. Ouch. That hurts just saying. That really does. Good for you.
Especially when you look around and you see where we are with that money.
Especially when you have to write that check.
Right.
No, okay, so you have that. It was an amazing customized pool outside, smack dab in the heart of like suburbs, right?
Right.
And now you're on a country farm with 5 acres.
15 minutes down a long gravel road.
It is a long
road.
It is a long road.
But
You're like, is this it? Is this the house?
But what?
You do get to hit a couple deer along the way.
Yeah.
That was one thing I was worried about when I was driving back from one of our appointments. It was pretty dark at night. And it's every bit of country, but this crazy thing, as soon as you get off of that long road back to the main road, you would never think, you're literally right there. So location. It was a good location, and it is a beautiful home. The crazy thing is that the Nashville market, it's a pricier market than Houston.
It's an expensive market, and a lot of that is contributed if you go to build a house here in Houston or most of Texas, we have pretty stable ground. We don't have a lot of bedrock. In Nashville, you have a lot of rock that has to be blasted or moved or excavated in order to build. So the cost of the foundation construction is a lot more in Nashville.
I didn't think about that. So it's all about, and I guess that's the main reasons why we don't have basements, because all the dirt underneath us sucks. It's horrible. So definitely when it because John Newton, who's a good friend of mine, who actually just moved up there where you guys are at.
Happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday, John. You'll probably whenever you hear this. But the biggest thing is when he was looking at properties and the builder that he works with, beautiful, beautiful homes. But when us on the lending side, when we're looking at how to get people approved for these properties, there's census tracts for every zip code in America. And when we started looking at what the census tract was for FHA loan limits in your area, they're like almost $150,000 more than what they are in Houston. And so when you think about that on how much individual or first time home buyer can buy, only putting down 3.5%, and in all scenarios, maybe have a down payment assistance program to get on top of that. But your taxes are like crazy low.
So the house, if you had a house here in town, like let's say the taxes were $36,000 a year, that same valuation in Nashville would be about $6,800.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
So that makes up for that.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah. But does Tennessee doesn't have state income tax either? I don't know what it is in Texas.
It's a tourism tax. It's got to be. Now Texas. Never mind. I'm not going to.
You would think you would think Buc-ee's would help with all the tourism dollars that we need here with the clean toilets alone. But yeah, the taxes in Texas, if you're not from Texas, are extreme, and I get it. It's
but okay. So I will. Yes, they are extreme. Yes, they are one compared to the other. But we also have the exemptions. Nashville doesn't have exemptions.
Oh, y'all don't have homestead.
Just a homestead, but it's calculated way different. The exemption is a lot greater here.
Yeah.
I know, but it's not going to give you a $6,800.
You gotta speak up Texas in some way or another.
The stars at night.
Really Texas, though, you have better schools. I mean, there are better schools.
Is that what Nashville's lacking?
Nashville is mainly private schools.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So again, if you're thinking about moving to Nashville and you have kids, you might want to stay in Texas. I don't know. So private schools, what other, when you, because you've been there for a year plus now. So what are the other differences? Oh yeah, you should be happy to know that Tomball is getting the first Bojangles in Houston.
It's one of your favorites, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my best. So good.
Sorry, Bojangles, but I had to drive by.
So other differences other than, so we have taxes, that's a big one.
And the market trends.
The market trends.
From a realtor standpoint, if you're looking at, because Tennessee has a lot of dual agent licensees. You have Tennessee and Georgia, and Tennessee and Kentucky.
Okay.
Well, one of the biggest differences if you're going from a Houston market is we don't have zoning. We could literally have an apartment complex next to a mobile home park, next to a house. Well, in Nashville, you have zoning. So if you're purchasing a property like we purchased, you have to look at the zoning laws. So we can only have one home per every 3 acres and where I am.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, right? We're going to kind of pivot a little bit.
I hope it's one I know the answer to.
Well, we gave you the study questions before you got here today.
So do you see any practices? Because a lot of the people that are listening to this podcast are Texas realtors. They're mainly local realtors, right? Do you see anything that an agent in Nashville uses as part of their tools to help versus that these agents that are local probably don't use? They may, or they don't know that they have the ability to, any kind of resources or tricks of the trade
The biggest thing that I see in Nashville that is very different from here is that most offices are ran as team offices.
Okay.
Where, I know Ronnie and Kathy Matthews for a long time, their real estate office was a team office. And if you came on, you were a team member of that team. That is the majority of the Nashville market.
How does a team office differ from an individual agent?
So in our office, we promote and we market the brand NextHome Realty Center.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, his office is NextHome Realty Center in Houston, Texas, Cypress, Texas. So it is Texas.
Yes. Where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
The independence that an agent here would get opposed.
So we market the brand to help agents build their own business. In a team office, most of the time the business is owned by the team lead or the broker. So every transaction that is done under the brand of that broker or that team name.
Okay.
So you really join to either specialize as being a buyer's agent, a transaction coordinator, a listing agent. But there I see a lot more agents go and join a team, get their feet wet, and then go out on their own. Where Texas, I mean, let's face it, if you're in the business, you've done a lot of deals with realtors that probably seem like they've never done a deal before. You don't get that as in Nashville as much.
We've never come across those kind of
Everybody's out for themselves out here. Right. It's the wild, wild west in Texas. Yeah, I could definitely see what you're saying about that. I mean, I think what's good about this office, this NextHome office, that we are so lovingly a part of, is that everybody, regardless of team or no team, there's always a source for an answer, whether it be from a more experienced agent who is not part of a team at all, or for the newbies.
That's like one of the cool things that y'all have here is your mentorship program.
Right.
So, I mean, you have people that are the newbies that may not know the answers, and then you have your mentors that they can go to that aren't a part of a team. So it's not like a team thing, but y'all operate as a team, which I think is kind of like the best of both worlds.
Well, and I tell any agent, new or experienced agent, don't worry about price of the office. Don't worry about location of the office. You worry about culture of the office.
Yeah.
Because every office does have a mentorship program, whether you know it or not. Are those mentors there to help you with your business or help you keep you from your business? So
there you go.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How do you know this person's not telling me the right stuff?
there are definitely those offices where agents they hold their cards close, and that's just not this office.
No.
There's enough business out there. We see everybody succeed. So
yeah, and definitely in this market, of course, as many people that they all want to close that deal. They all want it at the end of the day, but there's a lot more, hey, well, let me show you how to get it. Maybe approach it this way, or did you think about doing this to get it or win it? So I see a lot of that.
Nothing about that.
Nothing.
What? No.
I don't ever try to get creative on a deal.
We don't know anything about thinking.
That's episode 46 on Triers and the Buyers.
So let me ask you this question, because how long have you been an agent? Or
approximately 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
God, you were just a baby.
I was a baby. I was 25 when I opened my
I'm
first
talking
office.
to you like that, but you're the same age as I am, too. This is the same amount of time.
Right?
But yeah, we were
well,
just
we still
babies.
feel like babies.
Oh, man. Do we
Until we
ever.
go to tire
Until I
shoes.
have my 5-year-old
Right?
yelling up at me.
I know. Lynn wanted to adopt a baby yesterday. I had to talk her out of it.
Actually,
Who wanted to adopt a baby?
He did. He's like, I really want a baby.
Lynn
Wow.
adopting babies.
Yeah.
So crazy.
No.
I'm not
And
ready
then
for a
Mimi
baby.
came in crying that her lip hurt. He's like, no, I'm done. So, okay, you've been doing this for 20 years. What, if you could give one piece of advice to an agent that's brand new, that if you knew then what you know now, what would it be?
Absorb all of the information that you can. Attend every training event and definitely surround yourself with those that are succeeding.
Okay.
That's not one thing, but
okay, so my takeaway is surround yourself with those that are succeeding, right?
yeah, absorb the information for those people.
That goes back to like a common phrase that you hear when you grow up. You are who you hang with.
Exactly. Exactly.
Make sure you know who you're hanging with. That's mom. Mom, what's going on with my mic?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. Sometimes you lay down with hardworking dogs.
Oh man! So we had with last episode, it was like quote central. We were trying to come out with every inspirational quote.
I know. Where's the coffee?
Yes, sorry. There you go. Yeah, we had every inspirational quote going for. But yeah, that's a good one. But what I like most about it is the information piece, because you don't know what you don't know. And even with me, like, you've been doing this for 20 years and I've been doing this, I feel like it's forever, but there's still a lot I can learn from other loan officers. Of course, there's a lot of loan officers who close a lot more loans than we do. And just utilizing things that they're doing to kind of put in your own, because I think in January, all of us kind of sat back and say, well, how are we going to meet our goal this year? Like, we all have a goal. We all want to close so many loans and so many deals. What is the way we're going to get there? And sometimes you have to kind of just get out of what you did last year, look at what the people who beat you did, and do it differently. Yeah, definitely.
What's that other common phrase? What got me here yesterday isn't going to get me there tomorrow. And sometimes you just have to pivot, adapt, and change things up. And actually, a promotional little thing that we're putting in there. Jeff and I are going to be hosting a goal setting.
Oh, goal setting class.
We don't know when
goal
yet.
Setting
It's coming.
Probably the second week of February.
Second week of February. Maybe we can do that one on a Zoom.
And I think that's important to have the goals in front of you. If you don't have goals written down, then you don't see the accomplishments that you make,
right?
Which then doesn't drive that energy to keep striving. It's fuel.
Totally agree with you.
It's fuel.
It is fuel. It's kind of puts you on a roadmap, and there is.
So when it comes to goals, and we're still in January, when it comes to goals, how much do you believe that a vision board works for your goals? And have you created one before?
So I do have a vision board. I have done a vision board. Now what I do is I usually take a couple of my goals, if it's a financial goal, and I set those in a visual place, and that's what drives me to keep going. But I'm a huge believer that you manifest your destiny.
Amen.
So if you don't have a vision to look for, then you have nowhere to go.
Listen to this quote. This is going to be a really cool quote that you can put the applause on. Right?
Okay.
It says, "A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true."
Yeah.
There you go.
It's like Walt Disney himself, I believe.
On a side note, did y'all know that the original drawing of Mickey Mouse from Steamboat Mickey, Disney no longer owns it? Apparently, you can only own something for so long before the whole world can use it.
That just happened recently.
Yeah, it just happened in the new year. Like, Disney no longer owns the. I guess he would. I don't know what you'd call it. Like the way it looks, huh?
The sketch.
No, I think it's the
Remnants?
it's that version. It's that version of Mickey Mouse. Like the Mickey we know today, that one's still kind of protected some way, but the Steamboat Mickey cartoon of the original Mickey, like I could start making Mickey Mouse shirts and Disney wouldn't be able to sell me, right?
So the most recent example of that was Winnie the Pooh, which just happened
Exactly.
2 years ago.
Right.
And then we saw Cocaine Bear. Because anybody
Y'all
could take
can
the
see
Winnie
my
the
face.
Pooh.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so anybody, there's no more right. It's what they call public domain.
Yes. So for all you dreamers out there, if y'all love Disney and y'all just want to make Mickey Stanley cups,
Right.
I mean, put Mickey on the side of all these tumblers that are going crazy out there. I mean, that's a business for 2024. There you go.
And it will probably supercharge Mickey sales.
Oh, absolutely.
And people slipping Mickeys.
Oh, that's another episode. That's another episode of what keeps you going in the real estate market.
Yeah, don't be cutting that into another interview.
Oh man, we're going to get canceled. So I think that's a lot of, I think you made a valid point on, aspiring to whatever your goals may be financially, or even if your goal is to buy a home, which is probably the biggest financial thing that that anybody looks to do in our business. And I think if you take the knowledge, even that the Lending Labyrinth may give you, like we always talk about having that map of getting through the maze. That's all what this podcast is about.
So I have one more question. Yep.
It's always one more with you.
It is. And that's
Believe me,
I
I know.
what I want.
Right?
Yes, you do. So you're the way your mind works is extremely creative. I've always been very impressed how you
Creative, chaotic, I don't know, but
well, they kind of like chaos and creativity.
it
kind
never
of coexist.
stops.
But it never stops. But think about the things that you can get from all of that chaos and the constant running, right?
You get things done.
Yeah. Maybe it takes a while sometimes, but you can come up with amazing ideas. Like you have probably one of the most creative minds that I have ever met, where you can just pull an idea out of thin air and be like, "Oh my goodness, that was brilliant!" Right? So in today's market, the exciting market that we're in, we have had so many agents that have come up and be like, "Man, I've been really struggling in this market. Like it's probably been my worst year. And even probably the end of the year may have been like one of the more troubling times. But the whole year as itself probably wasn't as bad as what they're feeling right now." What advice would you give to an agent to help drum up or create business?
Well, I think right now what we need to look at, and I would definitely keep in contact with Lynn and Richard to keep the info, but watch the rates. A lot of people that could not qualify because of debt to income, or maybe the rate scared them off. Those people are still interested. They're still looking. So when you reach back out to them, if we get to the 5 3/4, 6 1/4, that's a healthy rate. That's a healthy market. Everybody was just spoiled, and go learn the conversation that needs to be had. That's the biggest problem is the agents don't know how to have the conversation. We had 3 years of an amazing industry that, new agents were making $200,000 a year and deals were falling in their laps. That's over. And it's time for us to now educate the consumer on the market.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
education is the key.
Yes,
education is the key. I mean, and that's very true. I think one of the things that Richard and I put out there always is that rate rebound program. I mean, even on our last show, we had that common phrase that's going around: date the rate, marry the house, right? Just simply because, I mean, rates have started to go down, and I mean, even us as loan officers, 3 years ago, the deals were falling in our laps, and now it takes a little bit different to be able to do that kind of production and keep up with, the things that we need to do as our own personal bosses to be able to function. So I totally agree. Like, have the conversation. Don't be scared to have that conversation, because everybody's first intention, well, I'm going to keep on waiting for the rates to go down. And
we never know when they've gone all the way down until they go up.
Right.
So you're chasing a moving target. And it's important to remind today's buyer that the average buyer is in the house, maybe 7 years? Mm-hmm. So the rate does not make near the impact as it did in the 80s when people stayed in the house for 30 years. Those days don't exist. We have people working from home. They move more.
I blame Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon's a big part of it. But there's a lot of people that can live anywhere now. So they're experimenting by moving frequently. I'm one of those people, and rate just doesn't apply then because it's going to be paid off shortly.
Right. Awesome.
So it's time for our 3 for 3, Jeff, where we ask you 3 questions and
I give you 3 lies.
No, you asked them something totally different than the 3 for 3. Okay, whose show is this anyway?
Not mine.
Goodness gracious. So question number 1, what is your favorite quote, Jeff?
My favorite quote. Oh, man.
May not be that favorite.
Well, unfortunately, it used to be by somebody that I.
You can still like the quote, but not like the person.
Man, I don't know. I mean, honestly, my favorite quote is "There's light at the end of the tunnel."
There you go.
You never get to the tunnel if you don't dig. Like you got to get to the tunnel first.
I think that's a self-made quote.
There you
I
go.
like it.
But I think
Hashtag Jeff.
if you can't see the other side, then it's the vision board thing.
There you go. So light at the end of the tunnel. I like it. Favorite food.
Favorite food it's got to be pizza.
There you go.
Really?
Pizza.
Yes, I love
Plain,
pizza.
is it just plain cheese, good pizza, or does it have to have something on it?
Cheese and a crispy pepperoni.
Are you one of those hot honey people? Hot honey on pepperoni? Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not buying it at the store. It's like $8.
And last question: what is your prediction for 2024 real estate?
I think it's going to be a great year. I think it's going to be a better year than what the amazing year that everybody talks about. You got a shift in the market. There's a lot more inventory now, so the chaos of competing offers and all that goes away. We had an increase of 14%. We're going to start losing some of the agents who weren't really in the business, which is going to open up more opportunities.
Oh yeah.
And I think people are going to have to dig for the business, but you'll see a lot higher close rate. I think the people that are looking now are definitely, they have to buy. So,
I like it. I like it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal year.
I think
Also,
it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being our guest today on the Lending Labyrinth. Jeff, are you licensed to be a realtor in Tennessee?
I am not licensed there. I have been before, but we have a network there as well.
Okay. So we're going to hashtag Jeff onto today's notes. So if you want to look for him and his information, he can certainly help you with anything Texas or network of friends in Tennessee. So definitely reach out to him. And remember, we're always here for you here at Next Mortgage. So if you want to get pre-approved, if you want to get into a home, or if you just want to talk mortgage, please feel free to give us a call. But remember, in the Lending Labyrinth, you'll never be lost if you have a map. So we will talk to you later. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.